ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence assistant developed by OpenAI. It is designed to understand natural human language and generate responses that sound natural and conversational. As shown in this illustration, the AI assistant is at the center, communicating with a user through a digital chat interface. Around it, you can see icons representing conversations, programming, documents, language translation, and many other tasks. These symbols highlight one of ChatGPT's greatest strengths, its versatility. It can answer questions, explain difficult concepts, write computer programs, summarize documents, translate languages, and even help generate creative content. Behind this friendly interface, ChatGPT is powered by a large language model, or LLM. This model has been trained on enormous amounts of text, allowing it to recognize language patterns, understand context, and generate meaningful responses. Rather than searching the internet for every question, ChatGPT predicts the most appropriate response based on what it learned during training. This prediction happens in just a few seconds, making the conversation feel fast and natural. In the next section, we'll look inside ChatGPT and explore the powerful AI architecture that makes all of this possible. At the center of this illustration, you can see a glowing digital brain. This represents the large language model, or LLM, which is the core intelligence of ChatGPT. Surrounding the brain are multiple layers that represent deep learning and the transformer architecture. These layers work together to process information, understand language, and generate meaningful responses. On the left, streams of digital data flow into the model. This represents the user's prompt, being converted into information that the AI can understand. As the data passes through each layer, the model analyzes grammar, context, word relationships, and the overall meaning of the request. At the bottom, you can see different stages of processing, including input encoding, transformer processing, attention mechanisms, neural networks, and output generation. Although these operations are highly complex, they happen automatically, in just a fraction of a second. On the left, streams of digital data flow into the model. This represents the user's prompt, being converted into information that the AI can understand. As the data passes through each layer, the model analyzes grammar, context, word relationships, and the overall meaning of the request. At the bottom, you can see different stages of processing, including input encoding, transformer processing, attention mechanisms, neural networks, and output generation. Although these operations are highly complex, they happen automatically, in just a fraction of a second. One of the most important components is the transformer architecture. Unlike older AI models, transformers can understand how words relate to one another, even when they are far apart in a sentence. This allows ChatGPT to understand context instead of looking at words individually. The result is an AI system that can answer questions, write code, summarize documents, translate languages, and carry on natural conversations with remarkable accuracy and fluency. In the next step, we'll follow the journey of a user's question and see what happens from the moment a prompt is entered into ChatGPT. Before ChatGPT can understand your question, it must first convert your text into a format that the AI model can process. This process is called tokenization. As shown in this illustration, the sentence enters the system from the left and is gradually broken down into many smaller pieces. These glowing cubes represent tokens, which are the basic units of language used by the AI. A token is not always a complete word. It can be a whole word, part of a word, a number, or even a punctuation mark. By splitting the text into tokens, the model can process language more efficiently and accurately. These tokens then travel through the AI processing pipeline, where each one is prepared for deeper analysis. At this stage, the AI is not generating an answer yet. Instead, it is preparing the input so the transformer model can understand its structure and meaning. Think of tokenization as translating human language into a language that computers can understand. Without this important step, the AI would not be able to analyze grammar, recognize context, or predict the next words correctly. Although this entire process happens in just milliseconds, it is one of the most essential steps in how ChatGPT works. In the next section, we'll see how the transformer model processes these tokens, understands their relationships, and determines what the user is really asking. Once the user's text has been converted into tokens, those tokens are passed into the transformer model. This is the most important part of ChatGPT, because it is where the AI begins to understand the meaning of the input. In this illustration, you can see several processing layers connected together. Each layer performs a specific task, helping the model analyze the language from different perspectives before producing a response. One of the key components is called self-attention. Instead of looking at each word individually, self-attention allows the model to examine how every word relates to every other word in the sentence. This helps ChatGPT understand context, rather than simply reading words one by one. Next, the information moves through cross-attention and feed-forward layers. These layers refine the understanding of the input, identify important patterns, and strengthen the relationships between words and ideas. As the data flows through each stage, the model gradually builds a much deeper understanding of what the user is asking. At the top, you can see the concept of context. Context is what allows ChatGPT to understand that the same word can have different meanings, depending on the surrounding words in the previous conversation. Although this architecture contains billions of mathematical calculations, all of these operations happen in just a fraction of a second. The result is an AI model that can understand grammar, recognize meaning, follow conversations, and prepare to generate an accurate response. In the next step, we'll see how ChatGPT uses this understanding to predict the most likely next token, one token at a time. At the top, you can see the concept of context. Context is what allows ChatGPT to understand that the same word can have different meanings, depending on the surrounding words in the previous conversation. Although this architecture contains billions of mathematical calculations, all of these operations happen in just a fraction of a second. The result is an AI model that can understand grammar, recognize meaning, follow conversations, and prepare to generate an accurate response. In the next step, we'll see how ChatGPT uses this understanding to predict the most likely next token, one token at a time. After the transformer model has analyzed the user's prompt, ChatGPT is finally ready to generate a response. As shown in this illustration, the processed information flows through the neural network, where the model predicts the next most likely token. Instead of generating an entire sentence at once, ChatGPT creates its response one token at a time. Each time a token is selected, it is added to the response. That newly generated token then becomes part of the context, helping the model predict the next token even more accurately. This cycle repeats again and again, until a complete answer has been produced. Notice how the glowing tokens gradually move into the chat window, forming a clear and meaningful response. Although we see the final answer appear almost instantly, the AI is actually making thousands of predictions in rapid succession behind the scenes. At every step, the model considers grammar, context, sentence structure, and the information it has already generated. This ensures that the response remains logical, coherent, and easy to understand. It is important to remember that ChatGPT is not retrieving a stored answer from a database. Instead, it is continuously predicting the most appropriate next token, based on the patterns it learned during training. This prediction process is what allows ChatGPT to answer questions, write code, summarize documents, create stories, and hold natural conversations across many different topics. In the next section, we'll explore where ChatGPT gets its knowledge and how training on enormous amounts of data enables it to generate such intelligent responses. Now, let's bring everything together by looking at the complete workflow of how ChatGPT generates a response. The process begins with the user. Every interaction starts when someone enters a prompt. This prompt could be a question, an instruction, a request to write code, or even a conversation. Next, the prompt moves to the tokenization stage. Here, the text is broken down into smaller units called tokens. These tokens are the format that the AI model uses to understand and process language. The tokens are then sent into the transformer model, the intelligent core of ChatGPT. Inside this powerful neural network, the model analyzes grammar, sentence structure, context, and the relationships between words. It doesn't simply look at individual words. It understands how they work together to determine the user's intent. Once the prompt has been fully understood, the model begins predicting the next token. It selects the most likely token, adds it to the response, and then uses that updated context to predict the next one. This process repeats thousands of times per second until the complete response has been generated. Finally, the finished answer is sent back to the chat window, where it appears almost instantly for the user. Although this workflow looks simple, it is powered by billions of parameters, advanced deep learning algorithms, and the transformer architecture, all working together behind the scenes. Understanding this complete process is important, because it explains why ChatGPT can answer questions, write software, summarize documents, translate languages, and assist with countless other tasks in a fast, natural, and intelligent way. In the next section, we'll explore where ChatGPT gets its knowledge and how training on massive amounts of data enables it to perform all of these tasks. One of the most common questions people ask is, where does ChatGPT get its knowledge? As shown in this illustration, enormous amounts of information flow into the AI model from many different sources. These include books, articles, websites, research papers, technical documentation, public source code, and educational materials. During training, the model reads billions of words and learns the patterns of human language. It discovers how words are used together, how ideas are connected, and how people communicate in different situations. However, it is important to understand that ChatGPT does not memorize entire books or documents. Instead, it learns the relationships between words, concepts, and language patterns. This allows it to generate new and original responses, rather than simply copying existing content. The glowing neural networks in the center of this image represent the AI gradually transforming raw information into knowledge. Over time, the model becomes better at recognizing grammar, understanding context, answering questions, writing code, and explaining complex topics. This training process requires massive computing power, advanced deep learning techniques, and enormous datasets. It takes weeks, or even months, using thousands of powerful computers working together to train a modern large language model. Once training is complete, the model is ready to help users with a wide variety of tasks by applying the language patterns it has learned to generate intelligent and natural responses. In the next section, we'll explore why ChatGPT sounds so human and how it understands grammar, context, and natural conversation so effectively. At this point, you might be wondering, how does ChatGPT understand language so naturally? As shown in this illustration, the AI brain is connected to many different aspects of human communication. These include grammar, vocabulary, conversations, context, programming code, books, multiple languages, and even emotional tone. During training, ChatGPT learns the rules of grammar, the meanings of words, and how sentences are structured. It also learns that the same word can have different meanings, depending on the surrounding words and the overall context. Context is especially important. Rather than interpreting each word on its own, ChatGPT looks at the entire sentence, and even the previous conversation, to understand what the user is really asking. This enables the AI to provide responses that are more accurate, relevant, and coherent. The model has also learned from many different types of content, including books, articles, educational materials, and programming code. As a result, it can explain technical concepts, write software, translate between languages, summarize documents, and communicate in a natural conversational style. You may also notice symbols representing emotions. ChatGPT does not actually experience emotions like humans do. However, it has learned patterns of emotional language, allowing it to recognize different tones, such as happiness, sadness, excitement, or concern, and respond in an appropriate and helpful way. By combining grammar, vocabulary, context, and language patterns, ChatGPT is able to produce responses that feel remarkably human, making conversations smoother, clearer, and more engaging. In the next section, we'll go behind the scenes to see what happens from the moment you press send until the response appears on your screen. So far, we've explored how ChatGPT understands language and generates responses. But what actually happens after you press the send button? This illustration reveals the journey that takes place behind the scenes. On the left, the user's computer sends a prompt to powerful cloud servers. Instead of processing everything on your own device, the request is securely transmitted to large data centers, where the AI model is hosted. The first step inside the server is tokenization. Here, your prompt is broken into smaller units called tokens, allowing the AI to process the text efficiently. These tokens are then passed to the large language model, represented by the glowing AI brain at the center. This is where billions of mathematical calculations take place. The transformer architecture analyzes grammar, context, word relationships, and the meaning of your request before predicting the most appropriate response. Once the response has been generated, it moves to the response generation engine, where the individual tokens are assembled into complete sentences. The system then performs additional tasks, such as load balancing, security checks, and efficient request handling, ensuring that millions of users can access ChatGPT at the same time. Finally, The completed response travels back across the internet and appears almost instantly in your chat window. Although this entire journey involves advanced cloud infrastructure, distributed servers, and powerful AI models, it usually takes only a few seconds. To the user, it feels like a simple conversation, but behind the scenes, thousands of high-performance computers are working together to deliver every response. In the next section, we'll compare ChatGPT with a traditional internet search engine and understand why the two systems generate answers in very different ways. A common misconception is that ChatGPT works like a search engine. In reality, they work in very different ways. As shown on the left side of this illustration, a traditional internet search engine scans the web and returns a list of websites, articles, documents, and other online resources that match your query. It is then your responsibility to open those websites, read the information, compare different sources, and find the answer yourself. On the right side, you can see how ChatGPT works differently. Instead of returning a list of links, ChatGPT analyzes your prompt, understands the context, and generates a complete response directly within the conversation. This does not mean ChatGPT is searching the internet every time you ask a question. By default, it generates answers based on the language patterns and knowledge it learned during training. It predicts the most appropriate sequence of tokens to produce a natural and meaningful response. However, some versions of ChatGPT can also use web browsing or connected tools when those features are enabled. In those cases, the model can access up-to-date information before generating its response. Both systems have their own strengths. Search engines are excellent for finding the latest news, official websites, and specific online resources. ChatGPT, on the other hand, is designed to explain concepts, answer questions, write code, summarize information, and assist with problem solving in a conversational way. Understanding this difference helps you choose the right tool for the task you want to accomplish. In the next section, we'll look at a real-world coding example and see how ChatGPT can transform a simple prompt into a complete C# program with an explanation. Now, let's see how ChatGPT works in a real-world programming scenario. Imagine that a user types the prompt. Write a C# program to calculate the factorial of a number. As shown on the left side of this illustration, the prompt is first sent to the AI system. Before the model can understand it, the text is passed through the tokenization engine, where it is broken down into smaller units called tokens. These tokens are then processed by the transformer model, the intelligent core of ChatGPT. Here, the AI analyzes the prompt, understands that the user is asking for C# code, recognizes the programming task, and determines the most appropriate solution. Next, the model begins generating the response, one token at a time. It predicts each keyword, variable name, loop, method, and punctuation mark until a complete C# program has been created. Finally, the generated code appears in the chat window, along with a clear explanation of how the program works. The AI doesn't simply copy code from a website, it generates new code, based on the programming patterns and concepts it learned during training. This is one of the reasons why ChatGPT has become such a valuable assistant for developers. It can help write code, explain algorithms, find bugs, suggest improvements, and even teach programming concepts, all through natural conversation. Whether you're creating a simple console application or building a complex software project, the same workflow takes place every time. The AI understands your request, processes the context, predicts the next tokens, and generates a complete solution in just a few seconds. In the next section, we'll explore the core technologies behind ChatGPT and discover the powerful AI innovations that make all of this possible. ChatGPT is powered by several advanced AI technologies working together as one intelligent system. At the center is the large language model, which has learned patterns from enormous amounts of text. It uses deep learning and neural networks to recognize relationships between words, understand context, and generate meaningful responses. Before processing begins, your text is converted into tokens. These tokens are then analyzed by the transformer architecture, which helps the model understand the meaning of the entire sentence, rather than individual words. Finally, natural language processing, or NLP, enables ChatGPT to understand human language and communicate in a clear, natural, and conversational way. Together, these technologies make ChatGPT one of the most powerful AI systems available today. So, what makes ChatGPT so powerful? As shown in this illustration, one AI system can perform many different tasks. It can help developers write code, support students with learning, translate between languages, create written content, and hold natural conversations. It can also solve problems, analyze documents, summarize information, and even assist with creative tasks, such as writing stories, generating ideas, or creating content. The reason ChatGPT can perform all of these tasks is that it understands the patterns of human language, rather than being designed for just one specific job. Combined with its ability to understand context, remember the flow of a conversation, and generate human-like responses, ChatGPT has become a powerful assistant for learning, programming, business, and everyday productivity. In the final section, we'll discuss an important topic: the limitations of ChatGPT and why it's essential to verify AI-generated information when making important decisions. Although ChatGPT is a powerful AI assistant, it is important to understand that it also has limitations. As shown in this illustration, the AI can generate highly accurate responses, but it can also produce incorrect or misleading information. This is sometimes called an AI hallucination, where the response sounds convincing, but is not actually correct. ChatGPT does not think or reason like a human. Instead, it predicts the most likely sequence of words based on patterns learned during training. Because of this, it may occasionally make mistakes, misunderstand a question, or provide outdated information. That is why human verification remains essential, especially for important decisions involving healthcare, finance, law, or software systems. Always verify critical information using reliable and authoritative sources. The quality of ChatGPT's response also depends on the quality of your prompt. Clear, specific, and well-structured prompts usually produce better results. When used responsibly, ChatGPT becomes an incredibly valuable assistant. It can save time, improve productivity, and support learning, but it should always be used alongside human judgment and critical thinking.